So I recently put a couple of 5,000 watt heaters in my shop. I love them. They work great. If you guys would like to know more about the 240 volt install for that, let me know in the comments. I can try to make a video on that. It's a pretty easy deal. What I want to do today is make these controlled with a thermostat. So the issue that I have with these is that they have a thermostat on the front of them, but it's a dial. And I can never get them both to work at the same time. It's always one's a little more, one's off, and so one will kick on and then the other one doesn't. And I like when they both kick on because it warms it up a lot faster. So what I'm going to do is use a thermostat to control these. Now the downfall on these 240 volt heaters is that the 240 volts, you'll have one leg of it that goes through the thermostat on here, and it draws about 22 amps on these ones for 5,000 watts. So trying to find a thermostat that does that is challenging, but I also wanted to have one thermostat for both of them. So I'm going to show you guys what I got. Okay, so this is what I ended up with here. I've got a very basic thermostat. It tells you the temperature on the bottom, and this is your set point up top. Pretty easy deal. The way that these ones work is off of 24 volts AC. So this guy it typically works off of a system that's got 24 volts AC. That's what this one has to have. So you've got an input for the AC voltage and then an output for it. And the output is made to run a typical, like a furnace system, or that it's made for heat. So it's typically for a furnace. So I need an AC power supply to power this. So that's this guy. This is my AC power supply. So I'll be plugging it in right here. It's going to power up this, and then I will have a control wire that goes to a relay. Now this relay is very important because the contacts on it are rated for the correct voltage. So it's rated for up to 500 volts and 25 amps. So that's the important thing about this. So this relay will be controlled. Here's my A1 and my A2. Those are your coil voltages. This relay will operate where the normal thermostat used to go. So that's what this guy is going to be used for. So I'll have one in each heater, and then whenever I set the thermostat, it will control both of them at the same time, and it will be a lot easier to do it on the wall. Plus, I'll be able to see what the actual temperature in here right now is. So that's kind of why I decided to go with this style. So this one is going to mount onto this box here. So this box will mount on the wall. I'll end up having this cover plate on here. The the thermostat will mount on this plate. And into the box, I will have my AC power supply come into the bottom. And then out the top, I've got some control wiring that I bought that will go out to both of the heaters and control those. So here's my very basic AC power supply. And this one is specifically made for thermostats and heaters. That's why I got this one. So this guy right here will plug into the wall. And you can see right here it's going to give me the input is 120 volts AC and the output is 24 volts AC. So this guy is crucial. Now the important thing about this is that this will have a 24 volt positive wire and then a neutral wire, and that neutral wire does not go through the thermostat. The neutral wire will go straight through this box and up to the A2 side of these coils. So that is the plan. So we're going to go ahead and get started mounting stuff. So you can see I've got my box mounted on the wall. My next step was to get my cover plate on. And the cover plate on this guy has to be modified slightly because I've got to have my thermostat mounted on there. So what I had to do was drill a hole right here. So what I did was I held my plate for my thermostat up here. I said, okay, that's about where I want it. And then I marked here, so that's where my wires are going to come in here for the thermostat. And then on this, I'll just shoot a couple screws in here to mount it to this lid. And then on the side of the box, what I'm going to do is remove one of these knockouts. It'll be on this side, and I'll have my wire come up for my power supply. So it'll come up here, go in, and then I'm going to use, this is my control wiring. This is just some sprinkler cable, but it's made for low voltage, 24 volts AC. So this stuff is what's going to go from here, and it'll follow this conduit up and around and over to where my heater is mounted. First, we're going to unplug this here because we're going to put the control relay in it and start running the wire along this conduit. Alright guys, if this is your first endeavor into wiring up electrical stuff, I'm going to show you it's not that difficult. Alright, so on this particular heater here, you can see that we've got power disconnected. We made sure that we unplugged the heater from the disconnect. There we go. So on this heater, the very front of it, there's our thermostat right here. So we've got our hot coming in, and then our hot going out. So those two wires right there are what we've got to cut. And then our new relay is going to sit right in here. So this guy is going to go in place of this guy. There we go. Tip that back so you guys can see a little better. So we're just going to cut these two wires here, and then we're going to end up having our relay right in there in place of it. So we're going to leave a little bit of slack in case we've ever got to rejoin these, because these ones are riveted onto this block here. Your relay here, you're going to notice that there's a wiring diagram on the front or on the side. Sometimes it'll be on there somewhere. But you're looking for the relay contacts that you need to be on. So we're going to be normally open, which would be on this one 2 and 1. So we're going to find those two contacts, and those are what we're going to hook up to. So you can see right here everything's marked. You can see that this A1 right there is for this, and then the 2 and the R1. So we're going to be on the 2 and the 1 as per our diagram right here, because it's normally open. The other one's normally closed, and it would open it when we want it energized, so that's backwards. We want ours to be on 1 and 2. There we go. So we've got our relay hooked up in there. Now we've got to power the actual coil of it, which would be A1 and A2. A2 is going to be our neutral, and then A1 is going to be our positive. So that's where we're going to bring in our control wire here. And this guy will come in and go to our relay. We want to make sure that we've got enough room for this to pivot around. So if we need to move it, if we need to swivel it, we can. So our relay is going to end up being right here. So that tells me we've got enough wire. So I'm going to strip this back a little bit. And to keep things simple in here, we're just going to use a white as our neutral. And you can pick any color you want to for your 24 volts positive. But we're just going to use our blue, so we'll have blue and white. Those will be our two conductors that are going to be power for our relay. And what we're going to do, we don't want all these extra wires in there, so we're just going to nip those off. We're not going to use them for anything. Just going to cut those guys off and get them out of the way so they don't touch anything, short anything out. And I'm also going to put a little bit of tape around this here so that none of those wires get into anything. So I'm just going to double check that these will indeed reach our coil. We might need to strip a little more off on those. Yep, so we got to strip a little bit more this insulation off. There we go. Now we know that that's gonna reach to both sides of our coil. We'll be able to go like this. We'll go there and there. That'll be good. Wrap that up a little bit. Get this in through our hole here. And that one should have a grommet on it also. So we're going to throw one of our plastic grommets on there also. and then like I said, those guys are going to go to our coil, and our A1 is going to be our positive, and the A2 will be our neutral. There we go. There's our relay. So that guy's going to sit right in here like this. Now we can button this up. We will then move on to the next one. So I made sure I've got power disconnected from the unit. Here's our plug right here. No way it can turn on. Get him out of the way. And here we go. Now you guys may be wondering what this is. This was for another part of this heater that didn't need for my application. So don't worry about that little guy there. Not important. So this is our plug we're going to take out. So there's that guy. Now I'll put another one of those plastic plugs in. So this guy is our bushing we're going to throw in here. There we go. Now these ones, we're going to strip these wires back a little bit. And if you remember, we're using our blue and our white. All others, bye-bye. Again, we're going to throw a little tape on this joint, or on this, where we just cut the wires so that nothing comes in contact with those other wires that we cut. Those are blue, white, all others go bye-bye. Now they do make a 2 conductor of this. I just already had this laying around, so that's why I'm using it. So, all right, so that's all we need there. Now we're going to have to cut our wires for our thermostat. Again, we'll leave a little length in case we ever want to use those again. Fold them back over. Get our wiring diagram on this, and we're going to see that 1 and 2 are the normally open ones, and then they will close when we apply power to our coil. So we're going to go into 2 and 1. And then our coil is going to be right here. So there's A1 and A2. And again, A2, I'll go our neutral on that one. And then the blue one will go on to the A1. All right, so first we're going to connect our hot leads. So here's where we go to 1 and 2. There's those. And then on the coil, we're going to have to double stab. So on the coil, we'll have 2 blues on the A1 side, and we'll have 2 whites on the A2 side. These terminals are more than big enough for 2 wires, so that's not a big deal on this. You just got to make sure that you get them nice and tight. There we go. We've got that in there. We'll tuck him up and out of the way. Tuck the rest of our wires up in here also. And we are done. And again, we're only using the blue and white. The reason being is we need a neutral and a hot. So this one, the blue one, is going to be our 24 volt AC positive. So that's going to go to the thermostat. And that'll be our output to run it. And then we will also have the AC input from our thermostat. So let me get these wires trimmed back a little bit. So now is where we're going to test voltage on our power supply. We've got a voltmeter here. I'll set it up so you guys can see. So we're going to be on AC voltage. And we're going to plug our power supply in. And I've got the ends right here, so I know that they're not going to get shorted out. Alright, so what we're going to do is check from one to the other and see which ones are hot and which ones are neutral. So if you look at that one, we've got about 27 volts AC. The white one on this, the one with the white stripe right here, is going to be our positive, and then we're going to have the other one be our negative. So the negative just gets tied across onto this one. The positive will go onto the R,
And then the W will be the one that goes out to the thermostat. Or not to the thermostat, out to our heaters for the control relay, sorry. It's coming from the thermostat out to our control relay that's in the heater. So now we've got everything all wired up, right? So we've got our neutral going out to the coil up there. Then we've got our hot that goes through the thermostat, and then when it kicks it on, we should hear our relays click. So what I'm going to do is get this buttoned up here, and then we'll test it out. Now we're going to turn this on. So right now, you can see our temperature is right a hair above 60. So we're going to turn it up to 70. I heard the relays click. Give it a minute because it's got to heat up the element inside there. And you can see now that this won't work at all. This will have nothing to do with it. Oh yeah, it's already heating up. So what happens with these heaters? There we go. It initially turns on the element, and then when it gets up to temp, it turns the fan on. And then for the off, it will turn the actual heating element off, let the fan cool it down, and then shut the fan off. So it should work the reverse when you turn it off. Oh yeah. We got the heat. Very cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the thermostat down. So right now we're at about 61, 2, and I've got it set on 70, so we'll turn it down and we should hear the relays click off. Yep, they went off. And we should be able to tell that the heating element turned off. Yep, it did. So the air is getting nice and cool. And then the fans will turn off after it detects that the heat is cool enough. Now, all of that stuff is from the factory like that, so you don't have to do anything for it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you checking out my video. If you guys have questions, put them in the comments below. And we will address them. There's a lot that goes into systems like this. This one seems way more complex than it really is. If you understand the basic controls as far as a relay and thermostat go, anybody can do this. So I'll show you guys a finished product. There's our thermostat on the wall. Here's my sub panel I set for my heaters. Conduit going up for the heaters along with the control wiring. We've got our plug to disconnect the heater power, along with our control wire going into the heater there. Continues on over, and I've got a separate circuit for each heater because they each draw about 30 amps per phase. Go up there, you see my control wire hops down over here. There it is. Hey guys, thanks again for being here. We'll catch you on the next episode. Take care.